Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where we've got a great show in line for you. We have a guest who some of you might know, but if you're from the deep south in Joburg and you're a leb, you'll know him because he's broken a lot of Oaks bracks. That's like Gary Citroen. Do you know him?
Yeah,
he's a breaker, apparently, that guy.
He's a Durban boy, no?
What?
Durban boy.
Yeah, but he's a breaker. You don't mess with Gary. He's I rang that comedian. What's his name? Kazi. Yeah, I rang
Barry
him.
Hilton.
Yeah, he said, "Yeah, don't even look him skiff on the
Could you speak
show."
English, please?
No. He says, "Don't check him skiff."
Oh, that's what you...
Don't check him skiff on the television because he'll jump out of his chair and come and break you. So,
We're good to get some of his stories there.
yeah, he's got a few stories. Don't worry, I've heard a few things which we're going to expose. It's going to be the expose of the year. Owns a few horses, loves the racing business, but just talking about sport, and obviously the Springboks is the big sporting event.
Yeah, a weekend of great rugby. You know, they gave us full days of it, and interesting. Obviously, the Springboks winning again. What I couldn't work out, I was given the list of the last 10 games Scotland had played at home. Last 10, they'd lost one.
Yeah.
By 5 points, the All Blacks. So I knew South Africa would have it all to do. It was a tight game, scoring first half, tight second half. But good for us, our momentum. We could have been an unbeaten autumn tour. So I think things are going the right way.
Yeah, he's certainly going to build himself a team that is brute strength. Okay, I think that we're lucky to have guys like the fullback, Billy LaRue. He does show flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
I thought when Elton came on and we moved the fly off to centre, we were much more effective in trying to break the gain line.
Yeah.
And that might be the key. I know a lot of people don't like Elton Jockeys. No, you don't.
Not for me. Not for me. You know,
I suppose you.
I've been I've watched too many games. I've been to too many games, and not for me. Not in world-class rugby.
Okay. Well, I thought that they looked like they were certainly more decisive and influential on the gain line with Elton. Otherwise, they're just better. Delendi and Creel just run straight. They don't offload.
But they've run through the All Blacks. They've run through the English. Don't knock those two.
Okay.
And the other boy. But anyway, good luck to them. Everyone's got their players they want. But what I found a great game was the Irish, world number 1 and world number 2 playing. And the All Blacks had a go, but they never scored a try.
No. The Irish were incredible.
Incredible. They were absolutely incredible.
And they haven't even got their best players. They still haven't got Conor Murray, and they're missing a few of the big boys.
Yeah, they looked like they could lose it when they lost Devon Toner. The lineouts, last 3 lineouts were like our first 3 against the English. So lineouts are such a big key thing.
What is an interesting thing is if you look at the All Blacks in the last 5 games,
struggled a bit.
Very, very close. Every single one of them. I think everyone's getting their measure. Yeah. I don't know that Sonny Bill Williams makes that big a difference. They've
got great backup there.
You know, the rugby has changed now to you're on the gain line and you attack the runners. Yeah. So they don't really get an opportunity to warm up. The best moves seem to be behind the gain line, guys running wide.
It augurs well for
the Scots were fantastic
for Japan. It augurs well.
How did you see Japan, England?
First off, they were very good.
I think Japan's going to frighten someone at the World Cup. They're
us.
going to give someone a big fright.
Yeah. And then obviously we had international Harry Kane, fantastic. I was given an interesting stat that after 35 games, English goal scorers, Harry Kane's the most on 20. He's got 20 goals. I'm not going to tell you who was second, but I'll tell you third was Shearer. Then you had Rooney fourth, Defoe. I might have given my order, but down to from 8 goals up to, I think Lampard was on 8. Yeah. And he had 20.
I'll tell you who was second.
Tell me.
Terry Payne.
No. You know who it was? The robot man. Crouch. Crouch. You can't believe it. Crouch is second after 35 games. And
obviously had some very good wingers passing, hitting the ball into him, and all he did was tap it. Yeah. That's the same as Lingard's goal. That wasn't Lingard's goal. That's got to be Kane's goal. Yeah. He towed it in exactly 3 inches.
Yeah,
okay, so now he runs around like he did. It was going in the goal.
Yeah, but it's a rule. He got it. You know, he scored in both games for England. But that's just the rule. And what they did, they also took these strikers for England and they looked at how many minutes they played, because a guy like Defoe was on like 11 goals, Jim, but he came on. He kept coming on. He never got the game time. So for Harry'd be number 1 and Defoe be number 2 for game time, goals per minute, you know. Very interesting that stat, and at least it's given a bit of an edge to these games now, James. There used to be friendlies and that. Now there's a bit of edge because Spain go down or Croatia go down and the next group comes up, and I think it's very good. So all good. And your man, I'll never forget golf, Tillett. It's his first win since he won the 2016.
Willett.
Is it Willett?
Yeah, not Tillett. Tillett was the
I was
Chief's
telling
type.
you Willett.
Chief's type.
Yeah, the Chief's was his 3/4 step cousin. Can you believe it, eh?
Yeah. Willett, he can play.
His little kid ran on afterwards, James, and that kid wasn't born when he won his last tournament. Amazing, yeah.
He's had a slump, but he won the Masters.
That's
how good he is.
That's how good he is.
They go through these things. I think what happens is that suddenly they think, well, you know what, I'm playing well, but I can get better, so I start tinkering with the game. I was chatting to my mate Mark McCann yesterday, and he was telling me that he's got a guy called Nick Taylor, Canadian. He says, watch this guy. He says, this is a good golfer.
No.
A very good golfer.
It's tough. All right, let's see if we can find the boys a few
No,
minutes.
just before we go any further, MotoGP, I know you love it.
I watched Marquez come off twice. That's your big boy, Marquez.
He put his shoulders out. He's finished now for the season.
So who won?
But how bad was that race? I think
the weather was bad.
Dovizioso won.
Who won it?
Dovizioso.
Oh, Dovizioso.
Yeah, you know him.
Dovizioso.
Let's go and watch 3 to follow.
Dovizioso.
He can't wait this thing. He doesn't know anything. Right, we're ready to go with 3 to follow. Okay, well, I wasn't ready, but there you go. Jacqueline, we go to Kenilworth Thursday. And Jacqueline from the Dryer Stable, they're firing down there. Lady in Black won later in the day and gave Susanna one to go on with. That was very interesting. Susanna just looked like she needed it. But the stable's firing.
They're firing. Den's got them rolling from the jump.
He's got those Cape Town, those mountain goats jumping up and down. I mean, you cannot believe. They're saying, where did this guy come from? Good luck, Den. Jacqueline, let's go and pick it up at the start. Jack Mitchell's colours. Jack and...
black and white, not Jack and white, black and white.
Okay, let's go and watch the black and whites. Pick it up by Jackson.
Yeah, here we go. Everyone's getting to know these colours. You can go back to Futurities, Ladies in Black. Very
Futura.
Thank you. And very good colours. You can see it jumps well, it gets away well. The eventual winner is almost captured, who shows speed from the jump, and Crawford's horse basically has them all off the bit. And having a look at Jacqueline, Jim.
She's under pressure.
She goes through a patch where she's not going to go anywhere, and then she comes on again. Do you think once much further?
Definitely. She's by Jackson out of a Joshua Dancer mare, bred by Reggie Knight, okay? And Reggie, nice to see he's still breeding.
Reggie,
He was the doyen at Noreen Stud. Remember Noreen Stud?
Wonderful horseman, Harry Hotspur.
Yeah. There you go. In behind the horse with the blue colours is Jacqueline. The winner's in front.
The winner's always controlled this race. Pierre Cornet Offer sends it about its business here. And at this stage, you think we're lucky to get a place to Jacqueline, but Sean Veal asked this big girl to run. She looks a big filly, and she finds. That's what I like about her, James. And when she goes a bit more of a trip, you're going to see the best of her. But this is a sparkling debut.
Yeah, I thought she'd had a barrier, which was pretty good, but... you see, she's just still learning about what it's all about. Yeah. Should be able to go on from there. Right, we go to Scottsville. This was a pleasure to see Scottsville in wonderful condition. It had a bit of rain during the week. The pentometer was 26, but a lovely racing surface. The horses loved it. Race 2, Daryl Moore. He's just taken out his license from he's actually taken over from his grandfather.
Yeah.
But he's a young man that's got a great pedigree in this business.
Yeah, steeped in racing pedigree, passionate guy, very nice guy.
Very, very nice guy. Anyway, Woodstock Festival, he stepped out. This was dead stiff. I mean, so unlucky. Karari Gelding, bred by Main Chance, owned by a couple of good guys, and Karari out of a Woodman mare. Watch this. It had 2 barriers. He gave this 2 barriers to warm it up. Shows you the importance of these barrier trials. His first barrier ran 10 lengths off, then 6 lengths off, and he put it in a race. They put cash down. They fancied this horse. just got beaten. Let's go and pick it up at the start. Drawn 1, Jared Samuel gets the ride.
Yeah, very pacey here. It's like wonderful to be back at Scottsville. Funny enough, the first 2 come out of trap 1 and 2. Arthur Marcus is on the winner in trap 2. And Jared lets his horse run, James.
First 3 at trap 1, 2, and 3.
No, the third horse is...
Alpha Strigoni ran fourth.
Yeah, the third horse is Mark Khan in the yellow up the middle. This is a horse called Rocket Fire. And Mark Khan had a look at the whole track. He ran right across the course with this horse. If Mark had stuck to his station, I think this horse would have won. But that's not the issue here, because Jared Samuels and Arthur Marcus are now really getting on with it.
Nose to nose, the 2 of them, the black colours with the green stripes, and then the blue colours next door to it. And the white blinkers is Alpha Strigoni, and behind them in the yellow, good races. What a great race.
Yeah.
Here they both go together, and you think that Daryl's horse has got it, but then Marcus is very strong. Changes stick very quickly into left hand, looks like still beat, gets up on the post.
Yeah, no, wonderful. Follow this horse. And well done to Daryl. As I said, the unlucky horse for me was Rocket Fire. He started on the outside, finished on the inside. But well done, Arthur at his best on Lady Jackson. Woodstock Festival, James?
Woodstock Festival. Have a close look at that. Karari, he's firing them. And we're going to go and have a look at the barrier trial, because this was the 2-year-old barrier trial at Scottsville. First 2-year-old barrier trial at Scottsville. And very interesting. I love these barrier trials. I think they pick up horses that can run. You watch your actions, you can see horses that can run. This looked like the best horse in the barrier trial. He got beaten, but she is the best. So what a winter filly, bred by David Hepburn, Brown, Emil and Ada. Very nice out of Al Mufti mare. Go more ground this will. Let's go and pick him up at the start. Enter the debutante.
Yeah, this is 800 metres, and you'll see her. She's in the blue silk. She's just slightly up in there at the start. When they open the gates, she just seems to be a little awkward and up in there. But they get her head down because the horse who wins the gallop is out in front initially. And that's Bound by Duty, the Pomodoro. But look at this horse's speed. This is off like a dirty shirt.
Yeah, and the Pomodoro can't really go with it. Yeah. And this filly is just under the hands, got a big action. She knows what it's all about. The other one has had a barrier trial, Bound by Duty. There are a lot of horses that are going to come on from behind the slot. I think that Jalapeno would be the big improver. That's in the orange. Jalapeno. I don't think that was given too much of a push in the barrier trial. You'll see they will come on. But watch your 2 in front.
This is fast. These are fast horses.
Yeah. And obviously the barrier trial suited the one that had the trial already at Greyville.
Bound by Duty, yeah.
Bound by Duty, that's the Pomodoro, but it's nice to see the What a Winter run such a good barrier trial for David and the Hemel and Ada team. I think it might be all right. Right, we're going to move on and have a look at what shouldn't happen.
It's Mandy's hand.
You know what happens with these kids when they start loving horses? The horse wants to have an eat, so she has a munch on its mane.
Yeah, boom, down you go, let the horse eat.
You know what happened to her?
Yeah, no, she fell off.
Well, listen, maybe she didn't. Maybe it lifted his head and she went back in the saddle and fell off the back. You never know, but if you watch the full unabridged version on our Gold Circle website and go to the YouTube icon, you'll be able to see exactly what happened. It's quite fun. Anyway, it's time for the Plum of the Week, and this is one of the best plums I've ever seen in my life. If ever you're going to have a bet on Interbet on a horse, you should have had a bet on this. And when you watch it, You won't believe it. Let's go and pick him up at Turfentine.
To make up Captain's Causeway. Legal Eagles on the outside, got 6 to go. Further back in the field is Africa Rising, Titsikama Dance. 300 to go, it's Pinnacle Peak, Mujalat, Clever Guy down the inside. On the outside is Legal Eagle, just as I said. Further back, Angel's Power, Clever Guy, the leader, Pinnacle Peak. Legal Eagle is flying. Here comes Legal Eagle on the outside, and Legal Eagle has won it. Case closed. Second, Pinnacle Peak, Clever Guy third, tight fourth.
Well, there you go. If you were on Interbet, you would have got 6 to 1 open this horse. He ended up shortening. He ended up 9 to 2, 5 to 1 at the jump. But it was just a most incredible race. That's only the last 300. When you go back, you watch Legal Eagle.
Lost.
Stonebone lost.
Great
cantering
horse.
along.
Great horse.
I mean, just Marcus just picks him up, shows him the stick, and he says, "How's it? Hey, Silver, goodbye to all of you. You know, all you sprinters, you think that you're good?
Yeah, you think you're good?
Yeah, I'll show you how to run." And he just runs straight past them. I think fantastic.
Well, what a racehorse.
What a racehorse. Yeah, and he's
7
back.
years old, same as Winks, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they be? If you look after them, it shows you Sean's looked after
singing
this
to the
horse.
choir, yeah.
And
You know.
will he win the Queen's Plate?
Well, it's going to be tough every year, but will be probably the horse to beat again after this.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go and take a break, and we'll be back with current affairs.
Best race time odds, transparency of betting markets, friendly and super efficient staff, the ability to negotiate odds, a full service tote with no limits, which is very important for exotic players, loyalty program, speedy withdrawal of funds, full odds multiple betting, and excellent in-play markets. These are just some of the many reasons that come to mind as to why I believe, as a serious punter, there is no online operator in South Africa that can realistically come close to matching what Interbet has to offer. Put simply, there's no other site like it, and the ability to negotiate odds adds to my fun and enjoyment. Interbet, where the professionals bet.
Hi and welcome to another edition of Current Affairs. One race we've got to show you, a very good race too, the Victory Moon, which was up in Gauteng during the week. It was Thursday night, in fact, and internationally, there was nothing really to pull in for the people to watch, James. So basically,
nothing,
one race.
nothing at all. The
Nothing
Victory
at all.
Moon was the big one. If you watched the race meeting, you waited for about an hour and a half or 2 hours while they had a storm. Congratulations to them for carrying on with it, because we needed to run this race.
Yes.
And although it ran off at about 10:30, I think it went off the Victory Moon. It's well worth it, and I think people were still up there punting and.
So was it that late, eh?
Yeah, it was
So
late.
That's
late.
why a few fell asleep in the gate.
Yeah.
Very late, eh? Sure.
Yeah.
But the winner, James, let's talk about this race for a show. Taking the Piece has turned out to be Visionaire's best sort of best on offer. And this filly nearly got the Triple Crown. Very talented. They brought her back. I believe the partnership was changed, and they brought in the youngsters from Ridgemont.
Yeah.
And they
That
became...
was done quite a long time ago.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying it means the Lulus who owned it brought in 2 more Lulus. So a great bunch of young people owned the horse. And James, on this, would you make it favourite for Summer Cup?
No doubt.
No doubt.
No
Me
doubt.
too.
I think
Me
it's
too.
got to be favourite. She won extremely well. She's had a beautiful prep in. Gave her the warm up behind Cascapedia over the 1450. That wasn't a bad run, 4.5 lengths. You know, this is where these guys know exactly what they're doing, their plan.
Yeah.
And the plan is the Summer Cup, you see, with this filly. This was the stepping stone, just got touched off the next time in an 1800, now won the 1800, and then the Summer Cup. And it's now absolutely fit, perfect prep. You look at Winks, that guy, Waller, preparing Winks. 5 or 6 barrier trials.
Yeah, get them tight.
Then gets it in a race. From there, another race, race, 3 or 4 races leading up to your big one, the one that you want to go for, ready to go, which is great. I think it's fantastic. And, you know, Mike and Matthew, they said this was the right race. I think Mike's been in Mauritius looking at all his horses there.
Right,
Yeah,
yes,
getting them all sorted out. So Matthew's been running the show.
Yeah.
And Warren Kennedy, I thought he gave it a cracker.
He's a very good rider today, and he's a natural lightweight. You want him on a horse with a lightweight, get Warren Kennedy.
Okay, well, let's go and pick them up at the 800-metre mark. And you'll see taking the piece in the blue and green colours, perfectly placed right there where it needs to be.
3 Victory Moon Stakes and Cash Time will guide them home down that 9-metre spur, led by a length from Dawn Assault in second. Artica's up along the inside, then Tundava taking the piece, got 4 lengths to go, Bankable Teddy. In beyond that, Sabina's Dynasty, Zuar further back with French Navy. 400 to go, Cash Time the leader, taking the piece down the inside, Dawn Assault, Artica between runners. Further back to Tundava and Dawn Assault on the outside. Entering the final 300 metres, Cash Time taking the piece, Artica, Sabina's Dynasty and Zuofa further back. It's taking the piece, Cash Time on the outside. In between them is Artica, taking the piece is the leader, the Victory Moon Stakes. Taking the piece has won it. Sabina's Dynasty flew up for second, third Cash Time. Then came in behind that Artica, Zuav and Dawn Assault.
Yeah, very good win, Jim. Perfectly timed by Kennedy. I thought the runner-up ran a very good race too with Stratham. Sabina's Dynasty, that came on, and as you say, taking the piece has got a lot to look forward to.
Well, fitting that, you know, Victory Moon was our first big one overseas, and Mike de Kock, you know, trained it, and
for Dean Maroon in the game.
Yeah, with all those that team of loons. Another team of the younger loons coming.
Yeah, there's a new bunch of younger loons. It's funny how they come through. Who isn't that? That was Dean and Kevin. Was it Kevin?
Kevin Hunter, yeah.
And there was another boy. There was I forget his name now.
John Maroon.
I was overseas with them when this horse won.
Yeah.
And
I think
great bunch.
JJ was involved with it.
That's right, yeah, they were all there. So the race was named for them, and along come the new loons with their horse. And it's been fantastic for young guys in racing what this horse has done.
Yeah, and what they're doing with these syndicates and that, you know, that they bring in all these sort of people who would have no interest or no involvement in racing. We'll talk to Gary about it later, because I think he's, you know, pretty on the cusp of that type of thing too. Good win.
Yeah, very good. I'm very pleased that I screamed at home when it got beat. You know, because I was hoping they would get the treble. It's always a tough call, but they're back on song, and they might take home the Summer Cup.
Yeah, well, that would be a big one. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of the news. We've got some very interesting stuff.
Yeah, let me knock mine out quickly, Jim, and I was reading an article in Australia. 3 jockeys were suspended, James, 7 weeks each, not 7 meetings, 7 weeks each for excessive use of the whip. And basically, they were allowed to hit it 5 times, and they hit it 12 times, and no appeals. These guys are gone. And it brings me back to the press have been on about it. In the last month or two, there's been everyone saying, listen, we've tried races without whips. And I spoke to our leading rider in the province, Marcus, and I went with Marcus and Kevin Shane. He said, come down, I'll show you my whip and I'll discuss my side, my point of view. And he said he took this whip out and he showed me very flexy, very light, very normal type whip. But he said, these are made for me and they're made for a lot of guys, is that it doesn't hurt. So he said, I want you to take his whip and hit me as hard as you can on the hand. I said, I don't want to do that. He said, do it. So I gave him a
Well, you know what? To give Marcus a thrashing, I would have told him to bend over as well. Would have been nothing better.
Leave your boarding school out of this, James. I was talking about trying this whip. Whop! He stood there. So Kevin Shea grabbed it and thrashed me across the hand. And I couldn't believe it. It was, if I was hit with
There's no
that,
pain. No.
it's nothing. It's a noise.
Yeah.
And he said,
It doesn't even sting.
no, and that's
You know,
right.
the cane that we used to get
remember
at school.
the cane
when we
at
had
school.
To get, yo.
And Arthur Marcus said to me, he said, no, Lef, that's what I'm going to show you. He said, he said this was in a personal opinion. He said you shouldn't dictate how many times a guy can hit a horse. He said it should be, it's clearly evident if a guy's brutal on a horse, but some guys you need a smack here. Now suddenly you've used your 5 up and you need 1 to get the race won.
Or 2 or 3.
3 or whatever. And
Yeah.
he said that he's willing to, Mark is willing to sit with any panel and discuss it because he's all for animal cruelty.
Anti-animal
people.
abuse, yeah.
Yes, anti-animal abuse. He's all for that and he's right behind it. But he wants them to see how in their own way they are changing things. But he said the impression out there is still, whoa, that guy's thrashing the horse. And after a while, I got thrashed on the hand and felt nothing, James. I was incredibly surprised.
And remember, a horse's skin is much thicker than yours.
Yeah, it's the noise too, and it's obviously by hitting it. So I think there's 2 arguments, but I was very impressed to see
There's
where they
not 2
were.
arguments left. Let's get to the point, okay?
I'm getting to the point.
There's not 2 arguments.
Horses
There's
are brutalized.
no arguments, okay?
Horses are brutalized, James.
Okay, if a horse is brutalized, then the guys
That's part of the argument. You know, they're not suspending these guys because they're overweight.
All these guys that are carrying on about whips and this and that and the abuse, they do nothing good for racing, okay?
Oh, who knows, James?
No,
who knows?
they're not fans.
No, sure, they're not the proper
They're not
watchdogs.
people
James.
that like racing. They're not people that
No,
that know what it's all about.
animal-
They're people that sit there in their little glass houses throwing stones.
Yeah, but
Let
you've
them
got-
go and
you've got-
sort
you've got
out-
to listen to them.
go
You've
and
got to
sort
listen to
out
them,
these people that abuse their Pekingese. That's what really annoys
James,
me. you know.
many
In
years
Mount
ago,
Edgecombe.
many years ago, these guys hanged on about getting rid of spurs. People said no. Now, I would never like a spur on my jockey riding with spurs on my horses.
Actually, you know, just talking about Spurs, we must just talk about the sad passing of Davy Burns. He could use Spurs. He was a great rider.
Yeah, he was.
And you know what?
He was the old
your
school
guy.
like his father. Yeah, he worked for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I found incredible? I was watching a program on Carte Blanche last night, and they're doing.
And there was he was saddling the
Can you
horse.
believe there's a photo of horse racing? There's Dave Burns and Vosua saddling my horse.
Yeah.
One person they picked, the guy who
Yeah,
died this
yeah.
week.
That was,
No, very sad and
It was a tribute to him. I said
was
to
a
Sandra,
tribute to
immediately
John.
I saw it. I
Did
said,
you see it as
that's
well?
a tribute to Davy
Tribute
Burns.
to Davy Burns.
He
There
was one
was.
of the nicest guys ever in this game.
You know,
so,
I remember
so
when he
sad.
started with me, and he'd been Roy Ward's friend for decades, and Roy said, take him, he's a good guy. And Dennis Bosch was his brother-in-law. And Dennis Bosch came to me and said, all the years that I've known Davy Burns, I've never heard him sling off about one person. That's what he was, he's like, the bravest man about. So, very sad. And
he fought a great battle.
He fought a
with
great
no
battle.
moaning, no. Anyway.
Okay, let's go
The
back
other
to...
guy who passed on was Johnny Jones, who was the head of Walmack, who was a very, very influential man. He was one of the founders of the Breeders' Cup and whatever.
Oh, okay.
And they used to call him Buggy Jones because he used to ride around Walmack in a buggy. He was a
Okay,
fantastic
Buggy
guy,
Jones.
cowboy. Yeah, but he it was quite interesting reading on this side. So we've lost a lot of really good people in the last couple of weeks in racing, which is very, very
It's
sad.
been very sad, you know. You talk back to our producer, Dave Burns, Natty had an unfortunate one.
Yeah.
There were, many owners have gone by the way. It's just It just seems
Chris
to be
Gerber.
the older you get, the more people, Chris Gerber,
Yeah.
major racing influence. Just sticking lastly with jockeys, Glenn Schofield appealed his 7-day ban. They looked at it, reviewed it, and changed it to 6 so he can ride on the 30th. But what I was interested to hear you tell me about is this scam overseas for trainers. I must try it here. to me, the type of money you're talking, James.
Well, it was brought to the notice of Thoroughbred Daily News. And what happens, and I know it's happened because I know even when I was training in Johannesburg, I got this type of thing happening. Where a guy phones you, normally it was Mike the Cock taking the mickey.
Well, he got caught with
Yeah,
Mrs.
he got
O
caught with
called him.
Mrs. O, but
Yeah.
it was normally one of them that phoned you and said that they've got a lot of money to spend and they're going to the sales and whatever and they'd like you to train the horses. Now, Peter Miller came out. There are a couple of trainers that spoke anonymously, but
Is
Peter,
this trainer in America?
yeah,
Okay.
Peter Miller, he trained the 2 Breeders' Cup sprint winners.
Yes.
And he came out, he said weeks after that, he got a call from a guy in India, and it was obviously Robbie Hill's connection, who said to him, they've got $10 million to spend at Keeneland, and they want him to train for them. And he went all the way down the line with this guy until...
But did he check with Keeneland?
Yeah, he rang Keeneland and said to them, what's the story with this guy? And they said, no, he's made an application. And he immediately thinks, well, he made an application, he's got the money, he's been approved. But that's not the case. As Keeneland said, anyone can make an application. It's to be approved is what you've got to find out. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that he eventually cried off when they said to him they needed to get a secure encryption on his computer so that they can this guy can deal with him on a one-on-one basis, and there's no, because he's such a big billionaire and got so much money that they've got to make sure that it's a secure encryption. They needed all the details from his computer, and they needed to log on and whatever. And he smelt a rat, and he was right, because what they do is that they get your information off your computer, all your banking details and whatever, and they clean you out, okay? So they would have cleaned Peter Miller out, and they get all your owner's details, because, a lot of trainers get the owner's checks and then put them into owner's accounts, after the deductions have been made and whatever. So it's a big scam. It's well worth looking at. The interesting part was that a guy wrote a book in 1940 called David
Dennis.
David W.
Oh, no, so David Mora or something. Yeah, that's right.
Mora. David Mora, okay, called The Big Con.
Great name.
Yeah. And this book tells you what's going to happen when you get conned by anyone. And one of the things he said was to look out for this type of thing. In 1940, they didn't know about computers or anything else, but look out for people ending up getting your personal information and being able to use it.
The Big Con, I must read that.
Yeah. The Big Con, Moreira is back in Hong Kong.
In a big way.
Yeah, he didn't pass his exams in Japan, so he's back in Hong Kong, won three winners back with John Size, so that's big news.
Interesting what you were telling me earlier, James, and I think it can be applied everywhere. It's a breeder incentive that there's a Sheikh Johan uses, that if you send a mare to him, and it's...
To one of his stallions. No.
Sorry, repeat that, James?
To one of his stallions.
To one of his stallions, and then if it goes on to win a stake race, the offspring...
The progeny, yeah.
Goes to wins a stake race, you get a free service to it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's a great incentive. Why aren't they doing it here? I do know, but do you remember Barwood? They put up at the end of the 3-year-old career, the highest rated Barwood would get $500,000 bonus. Yeah. That had people looking at the Barwoods. Yeah. I know, I speak to mates.
What was the highest rated Barwood?
It'd just be, I don't know.
It's $500,000 bonus.
$500,000. Tony had one for Mary Lally that was up in the running.
Yeah.
I don't know who won it.
There was a horse called Fly by Sky, maybe, of what's his name?
I don't know.
That would be very interesting to see who got that.
But don't you think that's a great incentive, James? You say, you come here and buy one of my offspring, and something along the Barword lines or something along this.
Well, this is fantastic, because what he's saying is that they've got Kitten's Joy standing there. He's just moved there. Not Kitten's Joy. Roaring Lion, who's by Kitten's Joy, okay?
Winner of the award.
Well, yeah, now he won the Cartier Horse of the Year award. He's moved to Tween Hills, okay, which is David Sheikh Jahan, David
David
Redford is the
Redford's, yeah.
racing manager. He comes
David
out
Redford's
here.
bought that horse.
Yeah, $160,000
That's right,
they
yeah.
paid for him. And the horse standing up for £40,000. So it's a great incentive. It's a £40,000 incentive. You win a stakes race with a mare that you've sent to Kitten's Joy, you get a free service. He might be worth $200,000 in 4 years' time when
Correct.
your progeny runs.
That's a very good incentive.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it could be applied anywhere in the world, James. These
I
type
think
of
it's
incentives.
fantastic, absolutely fabulous. You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind one
Talk
of
about
those.
awards. Godolphin won the John Deere Award. Okay, outstanding breeder of the 2018 Breeders' Cup Challenge Series, which is a series of races, and you get 10 points for a win, 6 points for a second.
Yeah.
They won 4 races in the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series.
Yeah.
So they won the award that Louis Oosthuizen most wanted to win. But maybe this will get him to breed horses, because they won a John Deere Gator utility vehicle.
Must be worth a few bob.
Yeah, a Gator utility vehicle. You know, in America, Gators are strong. Those
Yeah,
are
yeah,
alligators. Okay.
Good. I'm still thinking about the trainer scam.
Yeah. Okay. You're still thinking about it. You're trying to work out
Yeah.
how you're going to avoid this, or how you can utilize it to
Yeah.
manipulate someone in the
James, just
future.
before we end this segment, an interesting thing how your trading and your figures and your tote returns impact on different areas. 15 months ago, Singapore brought in all those big races again that they had, and 15 months later, they're not trading well in Singapore. They now have to cut a lot of their big races. They say it's a short-term thing, and that they're going to be because wagering is down. They're going to have a situation where they're going to cut their major stakes, James, and that's not a good sign. But they say it's short term, and these cutbacks in Singapore will be addressed, but they have to have them now. On the bigger races, they're cutting the prize money.
Okay, final thing. Coolmore are going to send a horse for the Pegasus Turf. They brought out a new race. They had the Pegasus Dirt last year,
That's
was
right.
$16 million. They've now decided, the Stronach Group, they're going to have a Turf for $7 million and a Dirt for $9 million. So
Yeah.
they've accepted that
There's two types.
the Dubai guys have got the biggest race on dirt, and they've
Yeah.
got the Everest and this and that and the other. So they've split it. Obviously, it wasn't worth putting. Now, what was interesting was that dirt was a R1 million nomination, $1 million nomination. They've now split their entrance into $500,000 for each of the 2 races, and Coolmore have said they support the turf race, and they're coming for the turf race. It's in January. So it's something to look forward to. It's around Met
Well,
time.
you know, just where would it be raced?
At Gulfstream.
Okay, so James, a couple of weeks ago we spoke about them getting involved and sending horses to Bob Baffert because they want to win.
We did talk about that. That's
Yes.
the other big news I wanted to tell you.
Yes.
Colosseum, the horse we talked about,
Yes.
came out and won his maiden stakes. Ran his first 22.8 something. Colosseum was its name. It's by Tappet.
Yes.
First
That's
time
right,
out,
Tappet.
won a maiden stakes in a canter.
And it's
6.75
with Bob Baffert.
Bob Baffert, yeah.
So
That was the horse we were talking about.
If Godolphin are aiming at the turf race for $7 million, and they're
No,
sending
Coolmore.
Coolmore.
Coolmore. We're talking about a different operation.
Okay, so Coolmore are going to go all out to try and win the turf one now.
Yeah, they said that they will support the 7 million turf.
Okay, that makes sense.
And remember, it's quite a difficult operation for them because it's in the middle of the winter in
Yes,
Ireland. Okay,
yes.
so you got to keep horse ready for it. You know, normally the big horses are all having a holiday. Anyway, that's it from current affairs. We're going to look forward to chatting to Gary Citroen and find out what he's got to tell us. Should be a good one. And till next week, lad.
That's
I'll
it.
see you. Have a good week. You know, this racing's a fascinating business. You've got all types of characters that are involved in it, and we've had over 300 interviews since Winning Ways has been inception. And everyone is different. And they're different because racing is made up of the whole spectrum of people on this earth. Everyone loves racing who's involved with horses, but there's some people that are just passionate about the whole business. They love the game. Never miss a race meeting. Got runners, haven't got runners. Always been part of it. Known lots of people. Our guest today, Gary Citroen, one of those guys. Gary, great having you on the show.
Thanks, nice being here. Thanks for the invite.
Well, it came as just like a sort of passing thing, because we were sitting at the table at Expro on Friday, and we were meant to have Daniel Muscat, who's the jockey, and you said, ask me a few questions about the show. So you obviously watch it.
Yes, don't miss it every week. Can't wait to see it. I think it's a fantastic show, and you guys are doing an unbelievable job. It's done a big thing for racing, and gives you an interest, because it's not just watching teletrack and watching horses run all the time.
So you're a fan.
Yes.
How long? From when? How did you get involved in being a fan? Your dad and family must
Well,
have been involved.
I'm talking from when we were babies. Okay, the families have always been, well, the Lebanese have generally been,
They run racing.
They were the four guys of horse racing. And from when we were small, we used to go and buy the newspaper for my grandfather, Rand Daily Mail, on a Saturday and a Wednesday, and he'd sit there and work things out. Those days weren't all the exotics that you have today. And then he used to put on his suit with his hat and his collar and tie and off go to the races and come home. And so it's from an age of 5, 6 years old. And going through that, went to school in Mayfair, Johannesburg. I was very close to Barty in primary school.
Was he the same year as you?
No, Barty is, I think, 2 or 3 years younger than me, but he was like my little mate there. Yeah. And with his brothers, we were at school. And then Robbie Sham's mom and my mom are cousins, so we come out of the same bloodline. I don't know if it's a good thing, but...
Listen, I thought all your libs were cousins.
Oh, we are all cousins.
Yeah.
But there's different bloodlines.
And have you ever said to anyone, do you know who I am?
No. We don't have to do that. When you die one day, we'll put on our grave, you know who I was.
So, but the Leisha family is an unbelievable family. They're very close-knit.
Very, very, they're an unbelievable, good, holy, a very good family. And, you know, the brothers have stuck together, and they're all very successful today.
Yeah.
Which is a very nice thing. Paul's here, the lawyer, Matthew, the doctor. And,
And how's Barty? Do you still keep in touch with him?
Haven't seen Barty for quite a few years.
I always talk to Paul when he comes down here and chat to him about Barty, because I was very close to him too. He wrote a lot of winners for me. He was a fantastic guy. I mean, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember him winning a big race for me at Vaal on a horse called Duke of Marmalade. Barty, he remembers too. He had an amazing memory. Terrible what happened to him, wasn't it?
It was a shame. It's a freak. It's a freak thing. And as you can see, it's happening to a few of our boys now.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know what happened to Barty, he fell in a race in Hong Kong, and the field went, and he was getting up, and a horse that was 30 legs behind ran over him. The guy never saw him, and just ran over him, and that was, I think he fractured his skull, and he was, in terrible trouble. But he's still today a wonderful guy. You ever see the rest of them?
Yeah, I was with Matthew a few weeks ago. I think it was actually after the July. They were here for the July. And there was a race after that, and I had a few drinks with Matthew. My family still use him as their family doctor.
Yeah.
And the family, they're all good. And then Robbie Sham I still see a lot of. We play a bit of poker with Robbie. And
is he a good poker player, Robbie?
Very good poker player.
He's a good golfer, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it was phenomenal with Robbie. He came out here, he couldn't hold a golf club. He went and hired clubs. And he begged us to come and play with him. We went, and it was a nightmare. And a year later, he came back. He says, let's play again. We went to play. So He says, I've got a handicap now. I said, what are you playing off? He says, playing off scratch. I said, how does this happen in a year? And then he went on the senior tour with his cousin Rob van Schalkwyk.
Yeah.
And so I'm into my poker quite a bit now, playing a lot of tournaments. I see Graham Hawkins a lot. We play with Graham. And
How did you get into the poker business? Are you a good poker player?
I'm average.
Have you got the right face for it? Because it looks like
I don't know. You got to tell me that. Yeah, no, I enjoy it. It's not passing time. It's we play for long hours, but I really enjoy it. And I'm not the biggest gambler, so it's a nice way of doing it if you can win big money. And it's small entry. It's not that you're playing for cash every hand.
You've been to Vegas and had to play in a couple of tournaments, haven't you?
Yeah, Vegas, and then one of the most memorable times in Vegas was when we spent the weekend with Tiger Woods for his charity thing that we were all invited. And there was a charity poker event that there were 50 players with some of the poker pros, celebrities, movie stars. And the whole thing was hosted by Tiger. So it was a fantastic weekend we had there in Las Vegas a few years ago.
Were you able to chat to him, get a picture with him or whatever?
Yeah, there's a picture, there's photographs with Tiger. He signed the photos for us. He did interviews. He sat with us, spent some time with us. And they put on a fantastic show for that weekend. They obviously raise a lot of money for charity, for his charity.
He's a nice guy, Tiger Woods, isn't he?
Very nice, very nice. I know guys that were with us that have continued a friendship with him. And gone to tournaments with him, golf tournaments. One of the guys that won the poker tournament, the prize was to play in one of the big events with Tiger in the Pro-Am. And that obviously must have taken the guy a few years to get there until Tiger got well, but it was an unbelievable experience.
And to see him re-emerge from the ashes like he has this year has just been incredible, especially if you obviously know him.
I always said that he'll come back. This will be the greatest comeback. And I don't know if he'll get to where he originally was, but I think he could win another Master with one of the big ones.
You don't play much golf?
I stopped playing about a year and a half ago. I had an operation on my hand. And I actually went last week and played 2 rounds. And I didn't play too bad, considering with the hand. I didn't hack, which was my biggest worry. But I play off an 18 handicap. I'm no superstar.
Can you beat your son?
No.
He's good, eh?
He is.
What's he doing with himself? Gary Jr.
Gary John, yeah. He loves the racing game.
Yeah, he's sick for it, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's sick for it.
You see what your grandfather did?
Look, and also from the bloodline from both sides, because my late father-in-law and them were all in the game.
Yeah.
So
who was your late father-in-law?
Mike Raphael. He had horses many, many years ago in Johannesburg. And I don't think he did too great with them, but it's in the bloodline. I think my mother-in-law likes to take a PA here and there. And yeah, it's...
Gary, okay, you went to school, finished school. What did you decide that you wanted to do with yourself?
I worked on the market for 7 years with the late Philip and George Mazaham. I lived with George for about 4 years, so that's where there was a lot of racing involved. So every morning we were going to the track at Turfentine. A lot of the apprentices used to stay with us. Those were enjoyable days, and George was a bit of a wild card.
Wonderful family, weren't they? Philip Mazaham was a wonderful man.
Yeah.
I've got a wonderful story, but I haven't got time to relate. But I used to ride work for him when I was a kid. I used to arrive on my motorbike. First guy I used to go and ride for was Philip Mazaham.
Yeah, I'll never
He
forget.
was a wonderful man.
He had a horse called, if I can remember, Clunt Valley.
Yeah.
I think it had about 127 runs.
Yeah.
His stables were just around the corner from Turfentine Racecourse. His horses could walk there on their own. They were so used to it. And he used to just race his horses and didn't get too many winners, but they loved it.
Yeah, okay, so you got involved in the market. So did you know the Mybergs? They were the butchers in the market? George Myburg and them?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I can remember. Look, it's many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And then from the market, I got married. I went into my own businesses. I was buying and selling used cars. And then the thing came up with the slot machines and the so-called grey area casinos. I got involved in that, and I immigrated to the Caribbean for a year trying to get a casino license in Martinique. Never worked out. I came back and I moved to Durban and started operations up here. We ran for quite a few years with Trevor Fourie and all the boys, and Taste Statler, they're all involved.
Yeah.
And then from there, afterwards, when the big licensed casino operations opened, we had to close. And yeah, I started a business, a promotional and corporate gifts business in Tombi Promotional Gifts with my late wife. She basically ran the forefront of it. I was at the back. And her unfortunate passing 5.5 years ago.
Yeah, it was a terrible blow to you. Eh?
Yeah, it was heavy. And then I had to obviously take over the full control of the business, which is a nice, very nice, big business today.
So that's allowed you to now get involved and own a few shares in horses. You're involved with quite a bunch of people. I mean, you got
well, years ago, I was involved with the Tahinis. I don't even remember late
Charles Tini. Yeah.
Yes, I had horses with his son Stephen.
Yeah.
Those were with Arthur Fall. Yeah. And
so you knew Arthur and Margaret
very well.
Yeah.
And then we had Lloyd rode one of our winners that time across the Rubicon. We go back. There's a lot of horses. I had a horse with Tony Nassif. Over the years, I had Manfred Rowe got me involved in a horse a few years ago. I was in a horse with called Pride Patent when Robbie Sham was still riding. Robbie used to ride.
That's right, with Ali Glad.
Yeah, Robbie had an interest with us. And so over the years, it's always had interest in horses. And then I won that share basically in Silver Song, which ran yesterday. Laff actually did the draw at last year's Breeders'
Award, didn't they? Yeah.
And I won a service from Noble Tunes.
Yeah.
And the boys turned around and said, listen, we've got a baby already out of Noble Tunes and their mare. Give us the service and you can have a share in the baby that's coming through now, which is Silver Song.
That ran yesterday.
Yes. And
I think we can have a few ran next time.
It's
still
over the right
Africa.
ground.
Yeah.
It's got to be over 1400.
Yeah, it needs 14, 1600.
Yeah, and then along the line got involved with Wynkelder. Our biggest upset and disappointment was Mr. O'Neill.
Yeah, with Canama.
Yeah, of course.
What happened there? You came to a
It was a freak accident at training. Another horse ran into it, and that was it.
What, he was a 5-time winner or something?
6-time in 11 months.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how far it could have gone on. You know, you get these 6- and 7-time winners. If they've been put into the right races, you get the results. You don't know if it would have been a Grade 1 winner. But we had a lot of fun with it, and it was just very upsetting for what happened. You know, in November we were offered 500,000 from Mauritius for it, which we refused.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in January, your horse is dead.
Yeah. A loose horse ran into him on the training track at Summerville.
Training track, yeah.
It just shows you what happens. You know, Laff's got a fabulous saying. They're like strawberries. They go off overnight, you know, which is true. And you, obviously being a fan and having seen this, you never know what's around the corner. You never know where you might get going.
And people get attached to a horse, you see.
Yeah.
You know, the Botses, Annie and Warren, they were very attached to it. So it's very difficult. But over the years, we've learned can't get attached to it.
Warren, he's a partner. He was a partner of yours, Warren Elsley.
Yeah, lovely people.
You got involved in now the sort of Mount Edgecombe and Schlanger group.
When now?
Yeah, well, I mean, you mates with all those guys. That's where you live.
Yes.
So
friends with everyone.
You know all the people there. They're all racing fans. There are lots of racing people there. aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're all over. I think Hillcrest is also a big area for
Yeah.
racing.
Yeah, but you're out that way, so you guys sit.
But then I got involved with the other lot from Hillcrest, with
Hey.
Arthur Potts and Tony Riveland and Herman Brown Jr. and Ian, and we involved with that, with the other horses, with Vane Calder, and so we spread out a bit. It's
If you look
diverse.
back at your life, did you ever see yourself being here, being the type of owner that you were? Obviously, your parents loved racing. The grandparents, did they own horses?
Look, I was always involved, always had a love for the sport. Okay, but when you're young, it's not easy. You're getting involved in horses that if you can get a lease, if you can get a few percent, because you never had the money. At least, fortunately, today, you can afford it, although it does become expensive if you don't have winners. But I've been fortunate that, having different shares in different horses, if you have one winner, it covers the cost for the others for the month.
What do you see in racing that needs to be improved, Gary? You've obviously loved the sport and you've always been involved. What would be your biggest concern at this stage?
Well, I don't know how they're going to get more people to the racecourse. I don't know how they're going to get the pool biggers on the tote. Okay, I believe that the regulations should change with the bookmakers. Okay, whereas they cannot hold tote bets. I believe tote bets should go onto the tote, and the pools can grow where the general public can benefit from those pools.
And racing can benefit.
Racing will benefit by getting more taxes. Okay, so I believe it's totally wrong that the bookmakers can just stand whatever they want.
Yeah.
Okay, but they have the license for it. I'm sure a few of the boys out there will phone me later and say, how can you do that? But that's on the side of improving from the tote. How do you get people to the course? I don't know. And I think we also, we lose jockeys to overseas.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're left with a few very good jockeys, yeah? And if, as you've seen, one or two of them get injured, what happens after that? You start scrounging around looking for jockeys to ride for you.
What about horses? We lose horses to overseas as well. All our best horses end up going either to Mauritius, Hong Kong.
Well, as an owner, you go where the money is. So obviously the stakes are too small, yeah? So what do you do after that?
That's the point, okay? But we should be a nursery for horses overseas, but we can't get them out. It takes too long to get them out. Otherwise, it would probably improve racing no end.
As owners, we'd probably benefit with horses there, but it becomes too expensive for us to go through all the quarantine stages and the cost to get a horse there. Well, it can cost you about R1 million before it gets there.
What would be your ultimate dream to be? Everyone says they want to win the July. What would your ultimate dream to be, as far as an owner is concerned?
Firstly, win a Grade 1 and go on and win another big race. And obviously, the Vodacom is always the biggest, or the JMB Met even. But you've got to get there.
Even if you don't get there, you still love it.
We still love it.
Yeah. And you've got a circle of people around you that are mates, and you're always chatting racing, you're always involved.
Wherever you go,
You've got a box here at Greyville as well, haven't you?
No, I've applied 4 years ago, and it's just never been allocated. I don't know why.
Well, I'd talk to them again.
I haven't stopped. I've been begging them.
Yeah.
So, that's also another thing with the boxes here. I think it's a disgrace that people have got boxes that never get used, and all they do is rent it out for July Day and get a nice return from that and make money out of it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's what the box is there for.
No, quite right.
So they should reassess how they allocate boxes, and they should tell people the box should be used X amount per time per year. Otherwise, you lose your box.
Gary, it would be nice to see you win one of those, okay? You've got to have horses, and you're obviously involved with quite a lot of horses. you're a man that we love to have on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. And to all of you, the best of luck, and may your show go from strength to strength.
Just on this chance meeting, how was that function at Expro?
It was unbelievable. 840 people in that one room, and everything just ran smoothly. There was no such the queuing, and everything was laid on. And also to see all the old pros. Thing that came to mind was George Best's sister was there.
Yeah.
And Bruce Grobler doing the
He was great,
talk.
wasn't he?
He was unbelievable. That canoeist.
Hank McGregor, the paddler,
Yeah,
was
and the paddler.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you've heard about this guy, and he probably holds the most world records of any South African.
Ever, yeah.
And we didn't know who he was.
Yeah. Well, that's why it came about. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope all your wishes and dreams come true in racing. That's what it's all about. Gary Citroen, one of the real staunch fans in horse racing. And as you can see, there are these guys all over the place. We love to get them on the show. We're so pleased he is able to make the time available. You have a great week's racing.
Your world of winners is now online at www.teletrack.com. Simply subscribe to log into your account from any mobile device in South Africa and access a wide variety of content from our membership package options. Listen in via a live audio stream, catch live racing locally and internationally, or view a wide variety of Teletrack magazine shows to stay informed and updated on the go at any time. It's never been easier. Go to teletrack.com now.